Evening to all. Today's topic is about burns, types of burns, causes, classification, pathophysiology, clinical manifestations, management, nursing care plan, surgical management, medical management, and nursing care plan. So let us start the topic. Burns, as you all know, burn is an injury to the skin or other tissues caused by heat, electricity, chemicals, friction, or ionizing radiation, such as sunburn caused by ultraviolet radiation. So, burn is an injury in the skin and other internal organs caused by extremes of temperature, electric current, or certain chemicals. So, anatomy of the skin, the skin is the largest organ in the human body and it consists of approximately 8% of total body mass. The human skin has three main layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Each layer contains specific cells, glands, and fibers that protect and regulate the body. So, the epidermis is the outermost layer. Dermis is immediately deep into the to the epidermis and is highly connected to it through a highly corrugated epidermal junction. The dermis has only two layers mainly. These are superficial papillary layer and the deeper reticular tissue. It has two main types of sweat glands, eccrine glands and apocrine glands. Then hypodermis is the inner layer, that is adipose tissue, fat cells that store energy and keep the body warm. That's about the anatomy. Coming to the classification of the burns, burns are classified by their depth. There are different classifications. By their depth and severity, we can say this includes superficial or first degree burns, partial thickness burns or second degree burns, full thickness burns, third degree burns, and a devastating full thickness fourth degree burns. So first degree burn is superficial, second degree burn is partial thickness, superficial partial thickness burns, and deep partial thickness burns. First degree, second degree, third degree, and fourth degree. So here you can see the first degree burn, which is only involving the superficial burns, particularly the superficial layers, that is the epidermal layers, are involved. So sometimes it may be a sunburn. The clinical manifestation: red, dry, painful. Sunburn is an example. Second degree burn, you can see it's a partial thickness burn. It's also called dermal burns. So it is superficial partial thickness burns. So example, we can see blisters, moist and very painful. They are moist, painful and red with a clear blisters. In third degree burns, you can see it involves, third degree involves little more inside. It goes inside. There is full thickness burns. So here you can see in a full thickness burns, all these layers are involved. So the waxy, leathery, less pain, third degree. It's less pain. But fourth degree is deep inside. It goes deep partial thickness burns. Involves the deeper reticular dermis. They can have a variable appearance ranging from pink to white with a dry surface. Sensation may be present with a dry surface. Sensation may be present, but is usually somewhat diminished sensation. And the capillary refill is sluggish or absent. So here burns are going inside fourth degree. So in depth. So the causes of burns, you can see the causes of burns: friction, radiation, chemical, electrical, and thermal. There are 5 mechanisms that cause a burn. So different causes are there. Burns causes can be categorized into different ways. So according to the cause, the classification can be thermal burns, it can be chemical burns, can be electrical burns, can be a radiation burn. So friction, injury sustained from a combination of disruption of the dermis and friction generated. Then radiation, energy from radio frequency or ionizing radiation, sunburns and the effects of radiation on body. Chemicals, burns from chemicals present a wide range of injury. Then electrical energy, electricity is converted into extreme heat as it passes through the poorly conducting bodily tissues. Then thermal burns produced by direct contact with flame or superheated materials. So again, the causes of burns already we have discussed. It can be thermal causes or other causes. Thermal causes burns and tissues injuries caused by thermal heat, chemicals and electricity. The primary causes include open flames, hot liquids or steam and electric currents. So thermal causes are flames, scalds, hot objects like stoves, irons, hot metals or cooking pans. Other causes chemicals like strong acids or strong base cleaners. Electricity by faulty wires, power lines or lightning. Radiation, too much sun or ultraviolet rays. Then friction, rough rubbing on the skin like a carpet or treadmill. Then according to the classification or according to the reason or mechanism, thermal, chemical, electrical, radiation and friction. Already we have discussed thermal burns, chemical burns by acids or alkaline agents, electrical burns by high voltage or low voltage and sometimes arc flash. Then radiation burns, solar radiation or ionizing radiation. Then estimation of the burn surface area by the Wallace rule of nines. You can see the rule for nines, paradigms. The body is broken into sections that equal 9% or multiples of 9%. That is the rule of 9. That is the Wallace rule of nines. Okay, Wallace rule of nines. It's a standardized method used to calculate the total body surface area that has been injured. This rule is applicable for partial thickness or second degree burns and full thickness third degree burns. The rule of 9 was introduced by A.F. Wallace. As per the rule of 9, the whole body is divided into 5 surface areas, mainly head, trunk, arms, legs, and perineum and percentage. So here you can see the head and neck 9%. Total 4.5% in front and 4.5% in back. Each arm 9%, total 4.5% in front, 4.5% back. Then anterior trunk 18%, posterior trunk also 18%, each leg 18%, 9% in the front, 9% in the back, and perineum and groin, that is the 1%. Then Palmer method for small burns. Palmer method, you can see the Palmer method in order to calculate the body surface area in patients with scattered burns. Palmer method can be used. So estimate with fingers positioned together in as above. Utilize the patient's palm size, not your own. The Palmer method of estimating total body surface area is an easy way to get a rough burn size estimate that can be used when calculating a patient's fluid resuscitation needs. Patient's palmar surface including their fingers, that is 1% total body surface area. Then Lund and Browder method is used instead of the rule of 9 for children in whom the head occupies a larger area and the lower limbs a smaller area than in adults. So it's a precise tool to calculate the percentage of total body surface area by a burn. It uses visual body diagrams and accounts for changing body proportions by age, making it the gold standard for both children and adults. Lund and Browder chart takes into consideration the age of the person with the decreasing percentage body surface area for the head and increasing percentage body surface area for the legs as the child ages. So here it's age-based adjustments and there will be body mapping. The medical staff shade in the burned area on front and back body diagrams. Then adding the numbers. Each specific body part should be such as thigh, upper arm or back has a detailed percentage value based on the patient's exact age. So these values together gives the final burn size. So that is about the Lund-Browder method. So in newborns and children, because of the larger size of the head and small body surface area of the limbs, the rule of 9 is not applicable. So Lund and Browder chart simplifies it. The calculation of total body surface area in children. So it takes into account the variation in the body surface area of different parts of the body in different age group. So it is common to see patchy burns making calculation a difficult proposition. So for this, Lund and Browder takes into consideration the patient's age for calculation of the surface area of the burns involved. This is the Lund and Browder method. So next one is SAGE, surface area graphic evaluation method. This is an advanced technology. Here you can see it's a computer based modality. Okay, so it's a computer based modality for estimating the burn wound extent. So it's a computer based program used to digitally map and calculate the burn extent, depth and total body surface area. It utilizes customized digital body diagrams and color the platelets to estimate surface area across 33 distinct anatomical sites. So this is the picture of a surface area graphic evaluation method. So it calculates the age, adjusted estimates for total body surface area, partial dip and user selected platelets, pallets in percentage and centimeters square for approximately 33 body areas. So here you can see this is an advanced technology, that is computer based modality for estimating the burn wound extent. It quickly diagrams the burn injuries, estimates the burn area and calculates the fluid resuscitation for burns, 20% total body surface area using the Parkland formula. So the SAGE 2 version of the program can be freely accessed in the internet also. Then we will see the classification of burns as per the American Burn Association. This is a SAGE diagram which is shown in the video. Pathophysiology, you can see the pathophysiological, the physiology of a change, burns involves increased capillary permeability, massive fluid shift, and systemic hypermetabolism. So the burn shock, that is systemic and fluid changes, widespread capillary leakage shifts the water electrolytes and protects proteins out of the blood vessels and into the body tissues, causing severe low blood volume or hypovolemia and generalized swelling or edema. An electrolyte shift, proteins, potassium leaks out of destroyed cells causing high blood potassium, that's hyperkalemia, while sodium moves into the swollen tissue causing the blood, that is the low blood sodium, hyponatremia. Then cardiovascular depression, reduced blood volume, lowers the cardiac output and BP. Metabolic and immune response, you can see hypermetabolism, the body's resting energy expenditure sharply increases. Then immunosuppression, the loss of the skin barrier combined with the depressed immune response significantly cause the risk of severe local wound infection. Then pulmonary and renal impacts, inflammatory signals can trigger acute respiratory distress syndrome, while reduced blood flow to the kidneys can affect and cause kidney failure. Zones of burn injury. You can see different zones of burn injury. That is, first zone is zone of coagulation. It is a direct contact with the burning hot object, which results in local denaturation of proteins and necrosis of the tissues. Then zone of stasis, that is zone 2, surrounds the zone of coagulation. The blood flow in this zone is decreased and the tissue has approximately 50% chance of survival. Tissue in this zone is potentially salvageable depending on the acute treatment. The zone of hyperemia, that is the third zone, that is the third one, that is zone of hyperemia. So the tissue will recover unless prolonged hyperperfusion occurs. Prolonged hypoperfusion occurs. So the zone of hyperemia that is inside. So there is first one is zone of coagulation, second is zone of stasis, and third one is zone of hyperemia. So zone of coagulation is the inner zone. Zone of coagulation is the inner zone where the cell death leads to necrosis. So zone of stasis is the area surrounding the zone of coagulation characterized by decreased tissue perfusion. Zone of hyperemia, this is the outermost part of the peripheral area of the burn where least cellular energy is present and blood circulation is highest. After an injury, there can be complete recovery of this tissue. So here you can see the zone of stasis, zone of hyperemia, and zone of coagulation. Pathophysiology based on the types of burns depends upon the type of burn. So if it is a thermal burn, dilatation of capillaries and small blood vessels, platelets and leukocytes adhere to the endothelium, increased capillary permeability, fluid shifts to the interstitial space, edema occurs, and sometimes fluid loss in the burn tissue leads to cell injury, bacterial invasion, increased metabolic rate, and leads to sometimes shock, hypovolemia, and shock. Then electrical injury, the clinical pathophysiology is physiological function will be altered and muscle stimulation, loss of reflex control, ventricular fibrillation, respiratory paralysis, seizures, cardiovascular changes, decreased tissue perfusion, acidosis, organ failure, and death. Then inhalation injury, here you can see irritation to the respiratory mucosa, inflammation, muscles fluffing, pharyngeal and laryngeal edema and swelling, then upper airway obstruction, pulmonary edema and bronchospasm, and that leads to hypoxemia, decreased tissue perfusion, acidosis, organ failure, and death. So this is the pathophysiology and full thickness burns. Here you can see the pathophysiology, the different causes, the pathophysiology, and the clinical manifestations. Local skin manifestations by degree of burn. First degree burn, dry skin, red appearance, blanchable with pressure, mild pain or tenderness. That's common sunburns. Heals in 3 to 7 days without scars. Second degree is partial thickness burns, moist, wet or shiny surface, prominent fluid filled blisters will be there. Severe pain due to exposed nerve endings and rapid swelling. And third and fourth degree, you can see the dry lethargy and leathery, waxy, white or charred blisters, lack of blanching, loss of pain sensation in the core area due to necrosis, and is extending down to fat, muscles or bones. Systemic and severe signs are fluid shift and shock, massive capillary leakage causing severe localized and generalized swelling leading to low blood pressure, fast pulse and hypovolemic burn and shock. Respiratory compromise, wheezing, soot in sputum, hoarseness or respiratory distress, smoke, hot gases are inhaled. Metabolic and thermal instability, rapid body temperature drop, hypothermia from skin loss, and a high metabolic state, hypermetabolism. So systemic and severe signs, that is, sometimes you can see widespread inflammatory response also occurs as a result of burn injury with the release of catecholamines, vasoactive mediators, and inflammatory markers, which can trigger a systemic inflammatory response syndrome, that is SIRS, and resulting in MODS, multiple organ dysfunction syndrome. So respiratory, you can see bronchoconstriction, in then adult respiratory distress syndrome. Metabolic, you can see the basal metabolic rate is increased, and immunological system, you can see the reduced mucus response, and then immune response, reduced immune response. Cardiovascular, you can see reduced myocardial contractility, and increased capillary permeability and peripheral vasoconstriction. You can see all this. So these are the systemic and severe signs of burns. Investigations, you can see thorough clinical examination to focus on burn depth in total body surface area estimation and associated injuries. Burn depth assessment by superficial burns. You can see the appearance, sensation and capillary refill. Superficial, red painful blanches, no blisters. And partial thickness, pink moist blisters, brisk capillary refill. Deep partial thickness, pale sluggish refill, reduced sensation. And in full thickness, white leathery, no pain and no capillary. Total body surface estimation, you can see the rule of nines, the Lund and Broder chart and palm method. First aid for minor burns. Stop harm. Move away from the heat source and remove the tight items or jewelry before swelling starts. Cool the burn. Hold the area under the cool running water for 10 to 20 minutes. Do not use ice on the greasy substance like butter. Then cover the wound. Put a clean loose bandage or plastic film over the burns to protect the skin. Relieve the pain. Use over-the-counter medicines like ibuprofen or acetaminophen if needed. Then criteria for severe burns that warrant transport to burn centers. So inhalation injury. This is the immediate transport to burn centers. You have to shift the patient to the burn centers. So inhalation injury, chemical burns, full thickness burns, burns involving important anatomical landmarks, partial thickness burns and deeper to more than greater than 10% of body surface area, total body surface area. Patients with burns and special needs, social, emotional, cognitive, physical. Burns with complicating conditions, example traumatic injury, PMH, etc. So initial assessment, ABCD approach, airway protection, fluid resuscitation, hypothermia prevention and priorities. Then TBSA, total body surface area and depth classification. And early cooling and wound care. So fluid management in severe burns requires prompt intravenous resuscitation using the Ringer's lactate solution to maintain the organ perfusion and prevent shock. So burns management is by Barkland formula or the Baxter formula. Here you can see the rule of nines. Fluid resuscitation 4 ml into body weight per kg into total body surface area percentage of burns equals total fluid in 24 hours. That total amount give half in the first 8 hours, rest over the 16 hours. So Ringer's lactate is usually used. If the patient's body weight is 60 kg, total body surface area affected is 30% and 4 into 60, that is the body weight into the total body surface area. That is 7,200 ml in 24 hours. Half in first 8 hours, that is 3,600 is given in the first 8 hours and 3,600 ml balance is given in the next 16 hours. So total 24 hours you have to give 7,200 ml of Ringer's lactate. Then Brook formula, that is original Brook formula, first 24 hours Ringer's lactate solution 1.5 ml per kg per percentage burn plus colloids 0.5 ml per kg percentage burn plus 2000 ml glucose in water. Then modified Brook formula, Ringer's lactate at 2 ml per kg per percentage burn. And administration first 8 hours give 50% of the total calculated 24-hour fluid volume starting from the time of the burn injury. Next 16 hours give the remaining 50% of the total volume. Then consensus formula, that is the burn fluid management. Consensus formula calculates the total crystalloid requirements in the first 24 hours as 2 to 4 ml per kg body weight into percentage of total body surface area burned. Half of the calculated fluid is given for the first 8 hours and the remaining half is given over the next 16 hours. Evans formula, that is older medical method. First 24 hours we are giving total bodies to find the total fluid needed in the first day. All these three parts together based on the patient's weight in kilograms and percentage of total body surface area burned, and electrolytes, normal saline, that is given. Then second 24 hours calculation. For the next day, the fluid amounts are generally cut in half electrolytes, saline, and colloids are given. Then dextran formula. It is historically used in specific colloid containing resuscitation formulas for major burns. Dextran 40 in saline, 2 ml per kg per unit plus Ringer's lactate solution infused to maintain urine output at 30 ml per hour. Second 8 hours fresh frozen plasma for 12 hours. Then management, water-based treatments. Then fluid to prevent dehydration. Pain and anxiety medicines can be given. Burn creams and ointments, topical ointments like silver sulfur diacid. Then dressings, different methods of dressings and drugs. Antibiotics are given to prevent infection. Topical medications are topical antimicrobial cream, silver sulfur diacid, which kills the bacteria on the skin surface and prevent the open wound infection. And then bifenthrin acetate fights heavy bacterial growth and which penetrates the thick bone crust. Then bacteriocin or neomycin, over-the-counter ointment for minor small burns. Pain relief medications, ibuprofen or naproxen, acetaminophen, morphine or oxycodone. Then systemic and recovery medications, propranolol, beta blockers to reduce the stress and reduce the BP and all. Then oxandronol, an antibiotic steroid, and tetanus toxide to prevent tetanus bacteria from entering the open wound. Nutritional management, high calorie, high protein diet to combat severe hypermetabolism, promotes wound healing and prevent to lean the muscle breakdown. Early enteral nutrition and targeted micronutrient supplementations are vital components. So here the Indian diet plan for weight loss, that is in burns patient also. We can give dal, khichdi, curd, vegetable salad, spinach, oats, paneer, buttermilk, etc. So this burns patient also we can give. Nutritional management, calories, that is energy needs spike drastically, and so over often 100% to 200% above normal resting rates. Carbohydrates should form the bulk of energy, 60 to 70%, to spare the protein, while fats are limited to around 15 to 30%. Protein high requirement, 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Then fluids, massive evaporate water loss through damaged skin, require strict fluid and electrolyte restrictions. Nutritional management, you can see early enteral feeding is given. So we are giving the enteral feeding, tube feeding. Tubes are often placed to start feeding within 6 to 48 hours. Frequent small meals. High protein diet, vitamins and mineral supplements, high vitamin C, vitamin A, zinc and selenium for immune function and skin regeneration. Hydrotherapy using warm water to cleanse the wounds, soften the dead tissues and prevent infection. Modern procedures primarily use gentle spray, showers or bedside irrigation rather than full body immersion tanks to minimize the risk of cross-contamination. Hydrotherapy, that is pre-medication, pain medicine is often given before starting because cleaning skin hurts while cleaning. Then set up staff wear for full protective gear and use sterile warm water with the mild antiseptic soap. Then soaps, washing, gentle sprays or showers wash away dirt, bacteria and lose the dead skin. That is a scrub. And debridement, nurses or doctors carefully remove the remaining damaged tissue using soft cloths or forceps. Drying and dressing. The skin is patted dry and fresh sterile bandages are applied. So here you can see the hydrotherapy room where we give the bath and the dressing. Then types of dressings, foam dressings, antimicrobial dressings, hydrocolloid dressings and alignate dressings. Types of dressings. Foam dressings are there, antimicrobial dressings are there, hydrocolloid dressings are there, alignate dressings. Then advanced dressing, that is bioengineered skin substitutes are there. Example, Integra, dermal regeneration templates, BioBrain, Appligard, etc. Then silicone-based dressings are also there. Surgical management emergency is sclerotomy, early surgical excision and skin grafting. Sclerotomy is occurred through the hard burned skin or a scar on the chest or limbs to stop the dangerous pressure and to help blood flow. Fasciotomy, a deeper cut through the muscle fascia if pressure stays high inside the muscles. So here you can see the sclerotomy. Sclerotomy is an emergency surgical procedure that relieves the tight pressure from severe circumferential third-degree burns. Key components include cutting through the hard, dead skin crust, restoring the blood flow to the limbs, and helping the patient to breathe easier. That is a sclerotomy. Then comes the fasciotomy. Fasciotomy is the deep surgical incision through the muscle fascia required when deep tissue swelling or high voltage electrical injuries block the blood flow through underneath the skin. The technique long incisions are made along the specific sides of an arm or leg to let swollen muscles expand and restore the blood flow, often requiring general anesthesia. So these are the two main surgeries what is done in burns. So dressings are there, and main other than sclerotomy and fasciotomy, there is skin grafting. So this is fasciotomy. You can see the two long incision is made over the leg because there is necrosis of tissues from muscle swelling. You can see the compartments. So here two long incisions are made, the fascia is incised and deep posterior compartment is incised. So this is the skin graft. We can see the skin graft. What is skin graft for birds? So skin graft is the wound is severe and no dermis remains to allow tissue regeneration. The skin grafting is necessary. So the skin graft types are autograft, allograft, xenograft. So autograft means we are permanent graft using your own healthy skin, usually taken from the thigh, back or abdomen. Allograft is homograft, temporary skin taken from a human donor or cadaver. Then xenograft or heterograft, temporary skin taken from an animal, usually a pig. Split thickness or full thickness. Split thickness uses the top layer and part of the lower layer of the skin. Full thickness uses all layers for deep or visible areas. So homograft or allograft, it is the skin from other person. Xenograft or heterograft is skin from another species. Pig skin is most common. Then skin substitutes are also there. Then on the basis of the depth of the graft, that is we can see full thickness, permanent graft, split thickness graft, full thickness skin graft, mesh and sheet grafts. So full thickness skin graft, it includes epidermis and all of the dermis, majorly used for reconstruction. So the donor site will also be need grafting. Split thickness skin graft, it leaves some dermis at the donor site which allows that site to heal. Then sheet graft, when a skin graft is applied to a recipient bed without any alteration following harvesting from the donor site, it is called a sheet graft. When a skin graft is applied to a recipient bed without any alteration following harvesting from the donor site, that is the sheet graft. Face, neck and hands are covered with type of graft for optimal cosmetics and function. Then mesh graft, that's a split thickness graft put through a machine to cut small slits, allowing it to stretch and cover much larger burn wounds. So when limited donor skin is available, most of the areas are covered with a mesh graft. It includes processing the sheet graft through a device that makes tiny parallel incisions in a linear arrangement and therefore permits the skin graft to be expanded before it is applied to the wound bed. Temporary grafts also, you can see allograft, xenograft and synthetic or engineered substitutes. Artificial, you can see the substance like Integra or BioBrain, used when patient lacks enough healthy skin for large burns, that is synthetic or engineered substitutes. Then procedures for skin grafting, you can see the procedure how it is done. So the procedure is performed in a hospital under general or local anesthesia depending on the size of the affected area. Healthy skin is removed from the donor side using specialized tools and techniques such as meshing may be employed to expand the skin and covering a large area. Small openings are made in the skin to facilitate stretching and drainage. The grafted skin is then secured in place using sutures or staples and covered with appropriate dressings. Here you can see the dermatome is used to harvest the skin grafts. Skin graft meshing device is utilized to create a meshed graft. Then burn surgery using tissue expansion. Tissue expansion methods are also there. The tissue expansion technique is a surgical procedure used to generate additional skin from the same body when a person needs to cover an area damaged by a wound, burn or previous surgery. In this procedure, the surgeon implants a small balloon under the healthy skin in a nearby region to the site needing reconstruction. The balloon is gradually filled with saline over weeks or months. As the balloon increases in size, the skin above it begins to stretch and grow, allowing the body to create new skin that matches the surrounding skin in color and texture. After a period of expansion, the new skin is ready for use and the balloon is removed. So in the next stage, the expanded skin is used to cover the damaged or missing area. This technique is beneficial because the new skin comes from the same person, reducing the risk of rejection or complications. Then other techniques are synthetic skin is used, splints can be used to reduce skin contractures, steroid injections administered, then pressure garments and dressings used to apply continuous pressure on wound areas or skin graft, and silicone gel applying topically to scars to help to reduce their thickness and alleviate the itching, and cosmetic makeups used to unify the skin color in grafted or scarred areas and improve the overall appearance. So cosmetic surgery can be done later. So the next one is rehabilitation. The goal is overall goal, return to pre-injury level of function with the best possible osmosis. Short-term goals, assist the wound healing, prevent the complications, musculoskeletal complications. So early phase, positioning and splinting, then edema control, elevate the affected limbs, reduce the swelling and fluid buildup. Then early mobilization by gentle range of motion exercises and maintain the joint flexibility. Long-term and scar management, compression therapy, physical and occupational therapy, targeted stretching and strengthening exercises to rebuild the lost muscle, psychological support, counseling and support groups help the patient to cope with the trauma, changing in the body image, and social reintegration. Complications, acute and early, hypovolemic shock, hypothermia, respiratory distress, compartment syndrome. Then delayed and systemic complications, sepsis, hypermetabolic state, gastrointestinal issues like stress ulcers and bowel blockages caused by reduced blood flow. Late and long-term complications are contractures, hypertrophic scars and keloids. Nursing management, in the emergent phase, 3 phases are there mainly for the treatment. Emergent phase, that is the resuscitative phase, acute phase and rehabilitative phase. Immediate priorities include airway, initiating the fluid resuscitation and preventing the infection. So airway, breathing, circulation and fluid resuscitation, monitoring output, wound and tetanus. Stop the burning process, cover the wound with clean dry sheets and administer tetanus booster. So airway and breathing, you know what is the humidified oxygen is given, and early intubation. Circulation, body fluids are given, fluid replacement, monitoring urinary output, and wound burning, that is cover the wound with the proper dressing and tetanus toxoid. Acute phase, that is 48 hours until the wound closure, wound care, infection control by strict aseptic technique while doing the dressing, pain management by IV analgesics, and nutritional support, high protein, high calorie diet, and the nutritional needs mainly 2 feedings. Then mobility and rehabilitation phase, mobility and positioning, encourage active and passive range of motion exercise to prevent contractures and joint stiffness. Scar management to reduce hypertrophic scarring, apply custom pressure garments, psychological support. Then, so the nursing care plan, first one is ineffective airway clearance related to edema, secondary to circumferential burns as evidenced by burned areas in the neck and chest, difficulty of breathing, cyanosis. Second nursing diagnosis can be impaired gas exchange related to carbon monoxide poisoning, or secondary to smoke inhalation as evidenced by difficulty of breathing, severe headache, nausea, vomiting, pulse rate is more than 142, respiratory rate is low. Then impaired gas exchange related to carbon monoxide poisoning. Then fluid volume deficit related to increased capillary permeability, and then evaporative losses from the burn wound as evidenced by confusion, dry mucous membrane, urinary output of 10 cc per hour. So concluding, burns are the type of injury that happens when usually something hot, damages the tissues or body. The treatment of burns depend on where they are on the body and how bad they are. Sunburns and small scars can often be treated as first aid. Deep or widespread burns or chemical or electrical burns need medical care right away, and even surgery is needed. So the care of patient during emergent phase, nursing diagnosis, impaired gas exchange related to carbon monoxide poisoning, smoke inhalation and upper airway obstruction, then ineffective airway clearance related to edema and effects of smoke inhalation. Second nursing diagnosis. Third nursing diagnosis can be anxiety related to fear and emotional impact of burn injury, and fluid volume excess related to resumption of capillary integrity and fluid shift from interstitial to intravascular compartment, and the imbalanced nutrition less than body requirement related to hypermetabolism and wound healing, impaired skin integrity related to open burn wounds, then pain related to exposed nerves, wound healing and treatments, and impaired physical mobility related to burn wound, edema, pain and joint contractures. Knowledge deficit about the course of burn treatment. These are the nursing diagnosis. First one is activity intolerance related to pain on exercise, limited joint mobility, body image disturbance related to altered physical appearance, and knowledge deficit about the post-discharge home care and follow-up needs. So burns, there are different types of burns. We have seen the classification of burns, and we have seen the different complications also. Complications of burns, there are so many complications like infection, pulmonary complications, metabolic complications, cardiovascular complications, pathological scars, neuropathy, etc. And we have seen the management, fluid management, the nutritional management, the hydrotherapy, the surgical management such as grafts, the surgeries, sclerotomy and fasciotomy. So burns, you can see burns are tissue damages that results from too much sun, hot liquids, flames, chemicals, electricity, steam and other sources. Burns can be minor medical problems or life-threatening emergencies. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you.